Hi guys, I wanted to share with you this morning something about another group of guys who had been in lockdown for quite a while, and these were the family of God, the people of God, the Israelites, and they'd been in exile, they'd been living away, and they had this amazing opportunity, this amazing path and journey that God had created to go back into their own land and rebuild. And they stood among the rubble and they're talking about rebuilding. And as we look at the book of Ezra, we see how the people start coming together to rebuild. And it's an incredible time. And there's a few lovely things there. The first thing they build is the altar. The first thing is to get right before God, to get the worship right before God. And then, of course, after, as they start to clear things and as they start to lay the foundation, they start to lay out the footprint according to what God has said to them. And that's really important. As you leave the lockdown, you know exactly the path that God has laid out for us, and that we're determined to look at that and to build on that foundation. And so it says that the people, I'm reading from Ezra 3, the people hired masons and carpenters and brought cedar logs, and they paid for them with food and wine. They paid with them from stuff that they had. They were a part of this building this time. This wasn't all just the high and the mighty and the kingdom. This was all the people putting together in their own efforts and their own works to construct this new temple of God. And it says, when the builders completed the foundation of the Lord's temple, the priests put on their robes, because they'd been included in the work. They'd been getting stuck in as well. And they took their places and they're ready to blow their trumpets. And the Levites and all the descendants got ready to praise the Lord, just as King David had said. And with thanks and praise, they sang this song to the Lord. He is so good. His faithful love for Israel endures forever. And that translates to us today as the people of God, Israel. But then almost immediately after this amazing journey and this amazing miraculous way that God has steered them and provided all the stuff for them, everything they could ask kind of fell into place, and they had all this beautiful foundation ready before them. This is all the people gave a great shout, praising the Lord, because the foundation of the Lord's temple had been laid. It was ready. But then we get this bit added at the end. But many of the older priests, the Levites and other leaders, these are leaders as well, who had seen the first temple, wept aloud when they saw the new temple's foundations. The others, however, were all shouting for joy. And the joyful shouting and weeping mingled together in a loud noise that could be heard far in the distance. And what a kind of beautiful and yet horrible picture all at once. Half of God's people celebrating this new foundation, and the other half going, yeah, but you should have seen the old. And crumbs, how often do we do that? Oh, we don't do it that way. Or, oh, crumbs, have you heard what they think or she thinks? Or what does God want us to do? Because if God has laid out that footprint, if God has laid out that foundation, then it's perfect. And we're to read later in Zechariah chapter 4:10, he says, don't despise the day of small things. This new temple would be greater than the former temple. And there was an even greater one coming, when God wouldn't live in temples or dwell in temples, but living in us, in his people, dwelling in the praises of his people. So that getting that praise right was first and foremost. And so I just want to pray a prayer today, and perhaps you'll join me in this. Lord, make me a builder. Lord, make me a worshipper. Lord, let me be positive. Lord, let me see your holiness. Lord, help me when I struggle and I want to be critical and things aren't done in the way I kind of want them and feel they should be. Lord, help me to see the bigger picture. To see that we're no longer captives, that we're free, that we're out of captivity and free to build in the rubble. We're free to lay a new path. Lord, help me to follow your path, to trust that in your unfailing love, the foundation that is laid and the foundation that is built is the foundation to the temple that you want to build. Lord, help me to be a builder, not a destroyer today. For your glory, Lord, and your glory alone. Amen.